Hello, and welcome to Scathingly Brilliant Idea. Today, I am going to share with you my ink swatching process. I just got a bunch of new inks from Birmingham Pen Company, and I also picked up this Monteverde Gratitude Magenta, inspired by this pen. It's custom 823 I purchased from Sarah at Ginger Peachy. And I told her she had it inked in this ink. And I told her not to bother emptying it before she shipped it to me. It was safe to do because of the piston fill. So it arrived and this past week, and I am in love with this. And this, it's like getting an extra magenta ink to sample on top of it. So I went out and I purchased another bottle. So when it's time to refill this, I will just keep it moving forward with this. This was a broad dip, so a little out of my typical, but it really writes very nicely, and I'm so glad I picked it up. So the process I use for inking or swatching that I'm currently doing is I have these index cards that I use. And I debated whether to get some that were already prepared or not. And I decided I initially purchased this box of, I believe it's pronounced Iroful. I've always pronounced it Iroful, but I have heard different things. So however you pronounce this, I purchased this from Jet Pens and really like this paper. I do write with it in addition to Tomoe River paper. And then what I decided to do after I ran out of 100 ink cards, yes, I ran out of 100 ink cards, I just purchased some A4 size. So I trimmed this now, and I just purchased this old, or not this old, but this multi-pack of index cards from Amazon, and I taped them onto those cards, which came with these rings. Then I have them sorted by, color family, and on the back, then I have some dots or some indexing of what properties the ink has, in addition to the color family it's in. So that's been working pretty well for me. The Iroful come, when you purchase them, come pre-stamped with this palette. And as you'll see, when I started making my own, I have since switched to this stamp, which I believe is a Beverly stamp, um, which is the pilot bottle. But I use it for all the inks because it's a good space for this card. And I decided to use this gray instead of a black because it's a little bit softer. So I use the Shashihata. I'm not sure how to pronounce that either. But this ink has been working really well for me. So I'm going to ink up some of those today. Got a little mess there. And then, so that's the cards I use. And then I also have an ink book that I prepared. So one of the things I wanted to do was to be able to set this up in a movable system. So I was into happy planners a while. That's really what got me into this planning process. But I switched over a couple years ago to the Tomoe River paper and then fountain pens. So I had this old book, and this was actually the inside of the cover. And I thought, well, that's perfect because it's ink swatches, right? And then I found these rings. I think these were different rings I added to it. But this is a full big happy planner size, so it's a full 8.5 by 11. And what I've done is, again, with that A4 paper, I just create my own, I trim it to size to fit an 8.5 by 11. And I keep two different papers for all of my ink swatches. So I keep this Iroful, and then I do one in Tomoe River paper that also came in an A4 size that I've trimmed. And this is 52 GSM. So I find it really interesting. So one of the nice things about Happy Planner is I have a punch that you just put punches in, and then you can lift and remove these pages easily. But you can see how you can compare the differences of the inks on the different papers. And so far, I'm just sticking with the ones that I'm using most frequently. I do have a separate book of the Cosmo Airlight equivalent that I also put it in, but I don't write on that very much yet, at least. So that you'll also see I've got a system here where if I have a sample of something, I use the sample stamp, and so I keep them all by color families. So I repurposed the tabs that came with the planner and printed out these with my little portable sticker maker, made color tabs for it. And then in the back, I just keep the extra papers back here so I can move them forward. And I found this online. I printed that out, and then this is my ink or my fountain pen inventory that I keep back there too. So it's kind of handy. At first I was worried it was too big, but I kind of like the fact that I can get so many inks on the same page. So what I've done here on the cover is made a little coding system for the properties of the different inks. And so by color family, then I code it the same way I had written it on the back of those cards. And then this denotes that it's a sample if it's in this little thing. So that's worked really well for me too, with the exception of, when did I got carried away and wasn't paying attention and got it upside down. So I just pull that out and turn it around. Someday I'll probably change it, but that's how I've been kind of keeping up with my my inks, my ink inventory, a combination of the portable cards and then this big book. And then when I decided to go to the Chicago Pen Show, I created a little book, a pen and ink book that I could take with me to the show. And I wanted to swatch all of my inks in here too, so I didn't end up buying something that I already had. So I keep this by bottles. I keep a swatch of what's in bottles versus what's in sample sizes. So if I like something, I want to pick up a bottle, I will do that. And that actually came in handy because I almost bought ink that was very similar to the Diamine Cashmere Rose for this pen. And this, is a perfect match. But that saved me from buying a bottle of ink. So that was a good came in handy. So what I'm going to do today when I'm swatching these new Birmingham Pen Co. Inks, I'm going to put it on a card, put it in my book, and then put it in here so that you can kind of see that process. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. To lay the ink down, I use a variety of different ways. Honestly, I have a combination of sometimes I use these little pipettes. Sometimes they're hard to clean, so I find this little glass doohickey that I got in, I think it was with an Opus pen, Opus 88 pen. I use this because it's a little bit easier to clean, and I just have to like coordinate and have everything out all at the same time, which is, a little bit of a drying process. But I'm gonna go ahead and open up this page to where the bottles are so I can get started. Alrighty. I also like to use this V-nib, and this is what Karina uses as well. Although I have to clean it really well if I have shimmers. Now, none of these are shimmers. There's a couple of sheening, but there's no shimmers here, so I'm not going to have to worry about that. If you're interested in finding out more, watch part 2.